Legends Lingo Podcast, episode 125, is always presented by Couch Guy Sports. Go check out everything on couchguysports.com, from the blogs to the podcast to our Twitch channel and our YouTube channel. Go to our shop, Couch Guy Sports store, couchguysports.com-shop. We have plenty of t-shirts, plenty of hats, plenty of hoodies when fall comes around, and everything else. I'm your host, Al. I'm back this week. I'm back from my 1 week hiatus of watching 8th graders graduate, which, by the way, Powder, I would like to clarify. I listened to the episode last week. You made it sound like I was graduating from 8th grade.
My bad.
No, you're good. I was just listening to it. They're going to think like, wow, if someone doesn't get it, they'll be like, wait, this guy's graduating from 8th grade and he's doing a podcast at 27? This doesn't add up. But
I am your host, Billy Madison.
Literally, Billy Madison, back to victory. But I'm back. 8th graders graduated. Happy for them. They're moving on to high school. They're going to do great things in high school. Had a great class. Going to miss them. First homeroom ever. But, the years move on. The students move on. And, It is what it is. I am joined, as always, by Tom Powder Cadmus and Matty DeRosier, a.k.a. Matty Kiwoom. Guys, I missed you guys last week.
We missed you, too.
We did. I mean, we did fine.
Yeah.
No, you guys, listen, it was only the best rated episode ever without me, so it's okay. I get it.
Wow.
It is what it is.
Evan's a star, man. That kid always brings good ratings.
He does.
Yeah.
Shout out Evan Bolliger. Great guest. Can't wait to have him actually on so I can actually have the chance to talk to him one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually funny. Before we start, I called him and Sam Edwards the other day to talk about some Couch Guy Sports stuff behind the scenes, which, by the way, just make sure you keep listening to this episode and the other podcasts because they're all going to have the same thing. You're going to see it. Matty, you know what's going on with Powder. I think you do too. But I call him and he's like, oh, yeah, we're in the middle of recording Around the Diamond right now. Here's a question for you. And I was like, oh, okay. My bad. Had no idea you were recording right now. So thanks for that. Thank you. You're so great. But shout out to Evan coming on, filling in the third chair. I think he did a great job. You guys did a great job last week. You guys covered pretty much everything that I would have wanted to cover. So it was all well and good. Powder, you did well as the step up in the first chair. Matty, second chair, you're all right. But
it's all right. It was mediocre at best. Carried by Evan and Powder. I am the J.R. Smith of this podcast.
So you're forgetting how much time is left on the call?
Yes. I am calling timeouts. You are yelling. You guys are yelling at me. But I'll hit a clutch-ass 3 every so often.
That's fair. That's very, very fair. But we have a lot that we got to get to tonight. Patriots mini camp has started. Celtics superstar possibly made an all-NBA team. We're going to talk about that. Bruins season ended in miserable fashion. We're going to touch on that. And there's some sticky stuff going on in the MLB. So, Matty Kiwoom, I'm going to let you pick first. What topic do you want to go with first?
I would like to address the Bruins first because I feel like it's been a little bit of time and we can just kind of touch upon it quickly.
Okay, so we're going to touch on this really quickly because we're 3 casual hockey fans here. Yeah. So we're not going to have advanced statistics and everything else. Just listen to us babble for 2 minutes. So Boston Bruins Stanley Cup playoff run ended in the second round in the semifinals with a 4-2 series loss to the New York Islanders. They lost game 5, 5-4 at home in the Garden. They were down 5-2, got 2 goals, made it interesting, couldn't quite get the equalizer. And then in game 6, everything just unraveled after it was 1-1. I think the final score ended up being 6-2, if I'm not mistaken, in game 6.
I think it was 6-2, yeah.
And the Boston Bruins, unfortunately, their season has come to an end, and my watching them religiously has ended, like it does every year, watching playoffs. But that's not the main point. The main point is that the Bruins season's over. Another cup run is over. Tuukka Rask apparently has some sort of hip injury. He's getting a surgery. He might not be back till January, February. Don Sweeney came out today. So as we're recording, it is 8:45 p.m. on Tuesday, June 15th. And Don Sweeney basically said that the 2 superstars of the team, Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron, they want to come back for another cup run. They think they got one more run left in them. And then ultimately, it's going to probably have to break up at that point. But before we kind of get into what they need to do for next year, just quick overall thoughts from you guys. I'll start with Matty, then we'll go to Powder. Matty, just overall thoughts on the Bruins season ending.
They ran into a team that they struggled with all year in the regular season. So, it was just kind of par for course, I guess, when you look back on it, hindsight's 2020 and everything. But still, I thought they had a better chance than they ended up having. I do wonder sometimes if you're severely hurt, like Tuukka Rask is, why are you playing? Like, are you helping your team? I know hockey is still like a really tough sport. It might be the last true, like kind of tough He-Man type sport out there.
But would you rather have Tuukka at like 75% or Swayman at 100%?
I would go with Swayman at 100% because, I mean, I don't know. I just don't think guys playing hurt at 75% is really the best chance to win a ball game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, the toughness is what really matters in that sport. But, after seeing kind of the goals that he let up on, in that game 6, it kind of made sense that he was hurt. And I also feel like, where's the coaching and all that? But maybe, I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough.
Okay, fair enough. Powder?
Yeah, kind of going off what Matty said. Just hockey is one of those sports I feel like you guys both said, like the last true one that like players you hear about all the time after the season ends. Hey, I was hurt. I had X injury during the whole season or during the playoffs, and I guess Tuukka Rask had an injury, and hindsight's 2020. Maybe we like the coaching staff should have sat him, and maybe the Bruins could have won. But also Tuukka Rask is one of the best goaltenders in all of hockey playoff history. So sometimes I would take that veteran that maybe might not be 100%, but at least he knows what he's doing. He's confident in himself while he's out there. So I think the coaches probably knew a little bit better than what we know even after the fact. But yeah, maybe having a healthy goalie might have helped, but who knows? Who knows what is truly going on behind closed doors?
So to kind of wrap up this whole Bruins season and everything, I just have 3 moves that I think they need to make. You can maybe say 4, but that 4th one is dependent on a few things. So here are the top 3. Number 1, re-sign Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall wants to be back as a Bruin. The Bruins want Taylor Hall back. They want him on that second line. Keep him with Craig Smith. Hopefully David Krejci comes back, which we'll talk about in a second. But re-sign Taylor Hall. He even said he'd take a discount. So get that done. That's number 1. Number 2, re-sign David Krejci. David Krejci is the staple of that second line. You give him a full season with Taylor Hall, with Craig Smith, and you bring him back for one more cup run. He's one of the most dependable players, I think, in Bruins playoff history, at least. And he's just that guy, that veteran guy that can help patrol the second line. He's not going to be on the first line, which is fine. And he's a depth piece that you need. So that's number 2. Number 3, sign Alec Martinez from the Las Vegas Golden Knights. He's a defenseman, 33 years old, has playoff experience, coming off a 34-point season. Vegas has already said they're not going to try to bring him back because it's just not going to work financially. And that's something that the Bruins lacked in the playoffs. I know they had injuries, that Brandon Carlo was injured. They had a few other injuries. But the thing is, if you add Alec Martinez, you put him on that first or second line on defense, you want to put him on the first line with Charlie McAvoy and then move Matt Grzelcyk down to second line, like that's okay. And you don't have to sign him long-term. Sign him to a 2-year deal. Bring him in as a veteran with this veteran group of guys and see if he can help be the difference maker on defense. So those are my kind of 3 moves. If you guys want to add anything, feel free. Open floor.
The only thing I want to add is that I told Al to say all those things.
Good job, Matty.
I believe it.
You weren't supposed to say anything, but
it was so good. I just couldn't let you take all the credit.
That's fair. Powder, you got anything?
No, I just think I agree. Number 1, definitely get Taylor Hall back here. You definitely saw the impact he had right away and saw a little rejuvenation in the Bruins after he got there. So I think that should be the first thing they go after. I think as soon as they can, just sign him.
Okay. There's your Bruins talk for the next 3 months. So have fun, fans. Unless something big happens, then we're probably not going to touch it.
It's true.
We're just going to be brutally honest.
See you in the playoffs next year.
Yeah. See you in April of 2022. Then, or sorry, May of 2022. Then you'll get your Bruins segment back here. All right, Powder. We have Patriots minicamp, sticky stuff going on in the MLB. Celtics. What do you want to talk about next?
Let's go Celtics.
Okay, so this actually just happened about 10, 15 minutes ago. So the All-NBA teams are out. Shams Charania, very, very reputable NBA insider. Very reputable. He came out with the All-NBA teams for 2020 to 2021. The All-NBA teams are as follows. The first team is Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard. Second team, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, Julius Randle, LeBron James. Third team, Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, Rudy Gobert, Jimmy Butler, Paul George. Guys, there's a name missing on that list, I think, huh?
Definitely.
Powder, who's that name that's missing?
Is there a guy named Jayson Tatum of the Boston Celtics?
I think it is. I think it's a guy named Jayson Tatum. So here's the thing. So Jayson Tatum obviously was not named to any of the All-NBA teams. I think it's a joke, number one. Like, you look at the stats, okay? These were Jayson Tatum's stats for this year. 26.4 points per game, 7.4 rebounds per game, 4.3 assists per game, 45.6 field goal percentage, 38.6% from three-point range, and had multiple 50-plus point games. You're telling me that Jayson Tatum couldn't at least make the third team as an All-NBA player? And by the way, he misses out on an incentive base in his contract because of that. Mm-hmm. Like, he's missing out on millions of dollars because he didn't get on the All-NBA team. So when I look at this, now I take a look at the lists again. So, I mean, if you really break it down, like the first team, I don't think there's really any objections. I mean, Jokic was MVP, Giannis, former MVP, Steph lit it up this year, Doncic is becoming a star, and Kawhi Leonard is Kawhi Leonard. I think we can agree first team's fine.
Yes.
Second team, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, Julius Randle, LeBron James. I don't know if Julius Randle and LeBron James should have gotten on the second team. Julius Randle had a great year, but I don't think a better year than Tatum. And Matty, you said this before we recorded, and I agreed with that. And LeBron James is injured for most of the year. But it's LeBron James. He's going to get treated like royalty no matter what.
Right. Deservingly so, but is that what the All-NBA awards are? It's just like a popularity award?
I guess so.
Or is it a statistical kind of, prowess in the league? Does Chris Paul being in the second team, his stats don't pop off the page. Now, his leadership obviously does. What he did for that Suns team clearly was big. But is that what the award is about? So then wouldn't I think that would elevate Jayson Tatum because he was their best player. He was clutch for them. He made it. They went as far as he could take in them without, his supporting cast. Jaylen Brown was even around at the end of the year.
Right. And like you go to the third team, right? The third team, Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, Rudy Gobert, Jimmy Butler, Paul George. I have a few problems with this list. First of all, Kyrie Irving missed a good amount of games this year too. And it's not because I don't like Kyrie Irving. He literally missed a good portion of the season toward the beginning of the season. Jimmy Butler, don't think he should have been on there. I think Bradley Beal should have been higher. I think he should have been on the second team potentially.
He missed a lot of time too, though.
He did. No, that's true. He did miss a good amount of time. You're right on that.
But so did Butler. Butler missed a huge chunk of time, and he didn't have the same stats that Tatum had. I guess maybe I don't know the criteria as well as I thought I did when it comes to NBA all, the all team.
So here's the thing, right? Jayson Tatum doesn't make an All-NBA team. Does that motivate him even more for next year?
You hope so.
I think so. I think he'll probably have a chip on his shoulder saying, like, no one's giving me the respect I deserve.
Correct, because Jayson Tatum deserves respect because he put the team on his back this year. There were certain times where he had to take over games. He did it. He proved that he can do it at such a young age. So you know what? Give that man his due. Give that man his respect because he deserves to be respected in this league. He's getting the highest of compliments from guys like LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant literally in the Brooklyn series was like, this dude's special. You're getting that from Kevin Durant, who's arguably one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. Where's the disconnect?
It's weird. And then like Julius Randle had a great year, career year. Even, I would say even as, if as good, if not better statistically than Jayson Tatum. But is it because he plays at Madison Square Garden, he gets a bump? Because he plays in basketball Mecca, he gets a bump? I don't exactly know what happens there.
That place hasn't been relevant in 20 years for basketball. Let's call it like it is.
Oh, yeah. People know that. But, when you talk about the basketball allure, they still talk about, isolated big games from stars there like it's, the Mecca of basketball still.
So, I don't know. I think it's just very crazy that Jayson Tatum couldn't get at least on the third team for All NBA. I think that was just flat out ridiculous. Yeah. I think that's kind of our consensus, right? It was just ridiculous that he wasn't on there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think he got the most votes out of somebody that didn't make it onto an all NBA team.
Makes sense.
So take that for what it's worth. All right. Are we good with Celtics? We ready to move on?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to move on. But first, guys, I have a surprise for you.
Ooh.
You want to know what that surprise is?
Yes, please.
Yes.
We have a new sponsor.
Ooh.
You guys ready? And believe it or not, it's not food related. That's going to be
I
later.
know.
But right now, it's not food related. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yes.
All right. So listen up. The Legends Lingo podcast is brought to you by Exogun. Let me ask you guys something. Have you guys ever done a workout and felt like you needed a massage right after that workout was done?
Oh, definitely.
No question.
Well, let me tell you something. What if I told you that there's a chance that you guys can get that massage without even needing to leave your house?
I would love that.
What?
So, I'm going to tell you guys something. Do not let pain and soreness slow you down. Because with Exogun, it revives muscle, boosts circulation, and releases energy so you can recover faster and live a lot better. You can take this with you wherever you need to go, wherever you want to go, whether it's at work, at the gym, if you're hiking up the trail, and you can put the power of percussion massage treatment in your hands, and we'll talk about that in a second. It's portable, it's adjustable, and it's powerful. Exogun is trusted by the pros to deliver the ultimate in fast and speedy recovery. Use it for percussion therapy. Do you guys know what percussion therapy is?
No.
Something to do with drums?
Not quite.
Okay.
But those are pretty good though. Boom, 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 boom. No. Percussion therapy boosts muscle function and recovery by penetrating deep into the muscle tissue with a series of rapid, concentrated, pulsating strokes. Gain control back of your body and achieve long-term pain relief with Exogun. Now, here's the kicker for everybody that's listening to this. Listen up because you get a little boost in this deal. You can get 10% off with the code CGS10 at checkout at exogun.com. Comes with a charger and it comes with a carrying case. So you can charge it at any point and you can carry it around with you at your convenience. Go get your Exogun today. Treat yourself to that massage at a moment's notice. And make sure that you use CGS10 at checkout. And I just want to show you guys. Have I shown you guys this yet? I might have.
I don't think so.
Look at this bad boy.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Look at this. Now watch. For anybody that's watching on video, here's the power button. You turn it on, nice and easy. And then when you tap the button, it goes up levels. So this is level 1. Nice and easy on the shoulder there. You want to go up a level? Goes up another level. Listen to those vibrations. Hold on to the power button, and you can shut it right off. CGS10, exogun.com. New sponsor of the Legends Lingo podcast. Maddie is very, very intrigued.
Yeah, man, I won't. I'm gonna get one of those because you like I'm getting old. Go to the gym, work out, trying to stay a little healthy, and I'm sore, man. I need something to loosen up the muscles, get this blood flowing again. And it sounds like Exogun is exactly what I need.
Right, and I will say, like, I put it like on like my leg, like on my shorts, and when you do the actual like massaging of it, it works wonders. Like my legs feel so much better after.
Let's go.
Like, this thing is legit. But all right, let's talk Patriots minicamp real quick. We'll get into the sticky stuff of the MLB, and then we'll call it a night. So Patriots minicamp has started. A few notable absences. Stephon Gilmore has been absent from minicamp. Chase Winovich absent. And of course, there's the battle between Mac Jones and Cam Newton. Now, before I hear from you guys, I have one thing that I would like to say to all the Mac Jones and Cam Newton just lovers, haters, everything else in between. Shut up. Really, just shut up. Because honestly, the Patriots are in a great position, and here's why. If Cam Newton is your starter for week 1, he has more reps in him. He has another year of the playbook under his experience. He has the OTAs. He has the mini camp. He has everything that he needs. He has he has some wide receivers to throw to. He has good tight ends to throw to now. He has the tools to be able to be successful. On the flip side of that, you have Mac Jones, who so far in minicamp has looked really good. He's made some mistakes. He's thrown I think he threw a couple interceptions today. Cam did as well, so I'm going to kind of wash that. But you have a guy that's picking up the offense quickly. Guys are raving about him because he's doing great stuff on the field. He's making those adjustments. He's calling different reads if he sees something at the line of scrimmage. So this is a guy that you could be excited for. So you have your present and your future right in front of you. Why do we have to debate this now? Because the Patriots signed Cam Newton to a 1-year deal. If he's a starter for a year, you have him go 10-7, 11-6, make the playoffs, great. Then you hand the keys over to Mac Jones next year. I don't think that's a bad thing. I really don't. And listen, this is coming from the guy that didn't want Cam Newton to start for the longest time. Now it's like, okay, he's here. He's going to start. Let's make the best of it. Hopefully he is better than he was in 2020 because there were some games where I thought it couldn't get any worse. Let's ride and see what happens. Matty, you look like you got something you're burning to say.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit that I am only subject to the videos of which I get access to. I'm not there. I don't get the press credentials, so I'm not watching every single rep. I'm just seeing what comes out on Twitter. And what I've seen so far is Cam Newton doesn't look like he can throw football just like he did last year. I don't know where this confidence has built on a guy who was the worst passer in football last year. I know he had no weapons, but if you're missing the open guys, what's the difference? But, I agree that if he's a starter, they can win with him. But from what I've seen, it seems like this could be a landslide in terms of who performs better. And I still don't know if Mac Jones is going to be ready week 1. So I think Cam Newton will be the guy. But from what I've seen, I don't know if Cam is going to be the guy. He looks bad like last year.
Okay. Powder?
I just think, obviously, it's good to see Mac Jones looking good, but I just don't think he's going to be able to pick up the playbook and be exactly what we want coming out the gate. I think just Cam Newton's going to be the best option for the Patriots going forward for at least first half of the season. I think just getting Mac Jones and maybe Cam starts games, and if Patriots get up big or down, hopefully they're never down big, but just if Mac Jones has opportunities to get in the game, I think he should get any opportunity he can. But I just think having, like Al said, someone who's been around this offense, someone who has NFL reps, he's been in the NFL for a while. Yes, maybe he doesn't look great, but I think with the new offense and everything, I think the defense is going to be great. So I think just having Cam, who knows what he's doing around this offense, will be able to be enough for the Patriots to tread water. And then I think maybe halfway through, if he's not doing great, you just throw Mac Jones in there. And I think Mac Jones will be able to re-energize the team if they're not doing great halfway through. But I definitely think Cam should be the starter, at least the first half of the season.
Oh, I will say real quick, one thing about Cam that I do like, now that he's working for a full calendar year and more with Bill Belichick, is Bill's built a good running back stable. If they all stay healthy, he's got the kid from Oklahoma, Damian Harris, Sonny Michel's still there, and James White, yep. All still there. So, there is a nice running back stable. So they could play a little bit of old school football, kind of dump off the tight ends and run the ball, because I think what you're saying, Powder, about Mac Jones not getting the playbook on time is spot on. And that will be the narrative that we hear probably, through the regular season.
So I have two things to kind of say. One thing I think is really going to make Matty smile, and I think he's going to like this. I will say this. Mac Jones looks a lot better throwing the football than Cam. I'm talking mechanic-wise. He does look better. I think that statement can be true. And I think the Cam lovers can even admit when you just look at how they're throwing the ball. I'm not saying where it's going. I'm not saying how far it is. I'm not saying arm strength. I'm just saying how they look throwing the ball. Mac Jones looks more comfortable throwing the football than Cam Newton. I don't think that's an unfair statement to say. Having said that, I get kind of vibes, and tell me if you guys agree with this. This almost feels like a version of the 2001 Patriots, where it was their veterans on defense. Because think about this. Think back to 01. You had Mike Vrabel, Teddy Bruschi. You had guys like Otis Smith, Ty Law. You had a veteran defense. Mm-hmm. You had a decent running game. You had a good offensive line. And you had a quarterback that you weren't too sure about because we didn't know how good Tom Brady was going to be in 2001. We had no idea, especially after Bledsoe got knocked out in week 2. Mm-hmm. Fast forward 20 years later to 2021. We don't know about the quarterback situation. Your running game's good. Your offensive line is very good. You have 2 really good tight ends, and you have some decent wide receivers. Your defense is a veteran defense. Donta Hightower, Matthew Judon, Kyle Van Noy, Stephon Gilmore, Chase Winovich, Devin McCourty. And then for special teams, you have Justin Bethel and Matthew Slater back there. Good special teams players. Matthew Slater's been a Pro Bowler on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
This team has some glimpses, in my opinion, of the 0-1 team because they are in a position where nobody expects them really to do a lot, but they can because they have the pieces in place.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I don't know.
I do agree with you, Al. But I think it's important to kind of specify. We're not talking about the result of 0-1. We're talking about the feel going into the season.
Correct.
And after the injury of 0-1, right?
Correct.
Yes, because it's easy to go back and be like, they're not what the 0-1 team. That defense was stacked. They won the Super Bowl. They had Tom Brady. Like, we're not saying they're Super Bowl champion bound. We're saying that the vibe of it, the team of it, the feel of the composition of the roster has a very similar vibe, and I would agree with that.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying that for me, Mr. Kiwoom. Appreciate it.
No probs.
The last quick Patriots tidbit: Stephon Gilmore, not present at minicamp. A little bit concerning. The contract situation is one of concern. The Patriots have the cap space. Sign him because J.C. Jackson you only have for 1 more year. They might let him walk. And if you're in a situation where J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore are not on your team in 2022, that's a problem, and that's a big missed opportunity.
Yes,
you cannot
definitely.
have 2 solid corners off your roster next year because you didn't want to pay one and you're very tempted to let the other one just walk. So that's just me. I don't know. Any thoughts on the Gilmore situation that you guys want to bring up? Powder, I'll start with you.
No, just try and figure out a contract for him or trade him if you really don't think you're going to re-sign him. Get something for him when you still can instead of letting him walk at the end of the year. So either you have to figure something out with him, but I think definitely sign him for at least this year and keep him happy for this year because I think he would be a huge piece with the defense.
Okay. Matty?
Yeah, I agree. He's a huge, cog to that defensive mechanism. But one thing that is concerning me right now, the big thing I would say that's concerning me is it feels like other players are starting to get vocal about his situation. He's starting to almost be like lured to other teams. And it just feels like once it gets in that public zeitgeist, once it starts becoming a little bit more, loud, the drum beat gets louder. Sometimes that kind of can deteriorate a relationship with a player in his team. So I hope he's kind of letting the noise just be noise and let the contract thing settle out because I think the Patriots need him. And if they lose him going into the year, I think he's just a huge piece of the puzzle that they'll miss all year long.
Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully Stephon Gilmore is playing. And if he's injured, you don't have to rush him back. You can take your time with him, make sure he's 100% healthy. This is a guy that won Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like he's not a slouch. He's not past his peak. He's still in his peak. So that's why I'm like, okay, this guy is still very, very good. So that's just me. But anyways, final topic of the night, sticky situation in the MLB. What's not sticky? Well, I guess it could be sticky depending on what you order, but A&B Burgers, great place to have non-sticky food or sticky food, whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
Powder, tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so thank you again for A&B Kitchen Bar and A&B Burgers being a sponsor of Legends Lingo. And just to reiterate, for the month of June, if you go into either A&B Kitchen and Bar in Boston or A&B Burgers in Beverly and you mention Legends to your server, you get 10% off your meal. That's not including alcohol, but any food you order, anything like that, that's 10% off all of that. So A&B Kitchen and Bar is located in Boston, right across the street from the TD Garden. I know the Celtics and Bruins are both done, but there's concerts coming back to TD Garden. There's different life is coming back to Boston. So look, if you're in Boston, you need a good place to get a burger or even maybe something a little different, maybe chicken pot pie or meatloaf or something like that. You want a couple drinks. A&B Kitchen and Bar is a place to go. They have an elevated New England pub menu with all locally grown or organic food. In all the beers are from local breweries like Notch and Beverly or Lord Hobo and Woburn. So everything is very local. And they are open Monday through Sunday at 3 p.m. But if there's a day game at the Garden or even an early concert, they'll open at 11 a.m. They have outdoor seating on a raised patio, or if you want to be inside but have a view that's outside, they have 32 feet of garage door space along Causeway Street and 16 feet along Beverly Street. And they have 9 70-inch TVs. So if you want to catch a Red Sox game, but you're not too close to Fenway, but you're still in Boston, you can go there, catch a Red Sox game. Or like I said, before a concert, you want to grab a drink. I've done that before, going to a concert at the Garden. I've gone to A&B and gotten a nice dinner. So like I said, if you go to either A&B Kitchen and Bar in Boston or A&B Burgers in Beverly, mention to your server Legends and you'll get 10% off your food. Thank you again, A&B, for being a sponsor for the month of June.
Thank you very much, A&B.
You're the best, A&B. You the best. So, final topic of the night, and I figure we have to talk about it because you guys touched on it last week, and we're going to touch upon it again. The MLB with the pitchers, they can't use certain substances after June 21st. There's an outrage. I think it was Tyler Glasnow, I think, actually came out and kind of ranted about it. And I'm going to say this. You guys are more well-versed on the topic than I am. So this is a time where you guys, it's almost like last week when I wasn't here. So you guys are going to take the time and you're going to kind of give your pieces on it. And I'm going to kind of sit back and listen.
Evan, come on out.
Maddie, do you want to start this? Or
Where do we even begin here? Like, where should we dive in? Like, should we start at the very beginning? Should we just kind of pick up where we left off last week? I know we kind of touched on it. So where should we pick it up?
I haven't had a chance to read the full memo, but obviously I've seen different things on Twitter about what it says, and it's saying that you can't use sunscreen or anything like that. Like you can't put rosin on your sunscreen or whatever, so it becomes sticky. So for me, from what I've seen on Twitter, like I said, I have not read the full memo and I haven't seen everything about it, but from that stuff, like I've seen some tweets from major league players and stuff like, what, can we not wear sunscreen during a day game? Like, is that going to cause like an umpire to say something? And first, before I start on MLB, I want to say, a lot of you guys know I'm very involved in travel baseball and I run tournaments, and we actually had our 12 and under championships this weekend. I was running the 12-year-old age groups for Mass. And there's a controversy with the bat having pine tar in it. First of all, it didn't matter, and I said it didn't matter to the umpires. Like, and the umpire brought up not one of the coaches, but and then the pitcher, the last hitter was a pitcher, and he went out and obviously probably touched the bat, and the dad said, "Oh, he has pine tar," so obviously he's trying to make the ball move more. And I just put my head down right next to that dad. I don't even know if he saw me, but I just put my head down and shook my head, because this is getting out of hand where parents who don't truly understand what's going on are going to start saying stuff at young kids' games that they don't know what they're talking about. Like that. I don't know if he was joking because he was behind me, so I don't know if he was just trying to be funny, but it's like the way the comment came out sounded like he was very serious. And I'm like, first of all, he's a 12-year-old kid, so he has no idea that, like, he's not trying to make the ball spin more.
Right.
But also, pine tar isn't even what people like. Should be banned. Pine tar is, like we've said the past couple of weeks, pine tar is fine for pitchers to have on their hands because it creates a better grip. They can be more accurate with it. And you don't, like we've said countless times, you don't want 97 up and in and getting a batter in the face and ending their careers. We've seen that happen a few times where ball slips off a pitcher's hands and it hits a batter in the face, and that ends their career or really affects them. I saw a picture today. I think it was John Boy Media, but I'm not 100% sure who it was. And they had the thing of spider tack, and they just showed them with a baseball to their hand, and they had it just, if you're watching the video, they had their hand completely open, and the baseball still just stick. Obviously, it's a still picture, but the baseball is still sticking to it. Like it literally like it's that sticky. So the spider tack is what people are up in arms about. But back to what's going on is a memo was sent out to MLB teams today just outlining what the rules are. And like I said, I guess it's banning pretty much any substance that can make you have a better grip on the baseball, which I don't agree with. So Maddie, you can give your opinion and I can rebuttal after that.
That's no, I mean you covered a lot of the base here. I guess apparently infielders and catchers can provoke investigations into the game balls, but only pitchers can be deemed responsible for the substance. So even if an infielder or a catcher gets flagged and then convicted or whatever you want to call it, gets in trouble, we'll dumb it down to that. The pitcher is who's going to take the fall for it. So they are putting onus on the pitcher. Tyler Glasnow this afternoon had a rant because he said he quit using any type of substance cold turkey. Had a good game, but felt sore after. Came out last night, Monday night, and now he's going to be teetering that line for Tommy John.
Yeah.
So, they're going to try rehab first, but it is the UCL injury. So we could see him going to the knife at some point, and he was pretty upset about it. And making these pitchers quit cold turkey is, I think it's stupid, and I think it's unfair. And I don't think it's just the pitchers are going to suffer. I think the product of the game overall is going to suffer here. But it's once again, baseball can't get it out of its own way. The executives who run the show, they either don't like the sport or someone's paying them to kill it because that's the only things I could think of considering the bad decisions they just continuously make. They let it get to this point. They let it get way out of hand. And the organizations should take a little onus on this as well because, there are rumors swirling that teams hired chemists to get a substance that's untraceable, but would increase RPMs. They're using slow motion cameras and substances to really dial in, increase RPMs and so forth. So, I think everyone has a little bit of stake of blame in terms of this whole fiasco that's going to ensue next Monday. I just hope we don't just start seeing a slew of injuries where these pitchers just went from something like spider tack, like Powder said, you can literally just have a ball on your hand to nothing. Is probably not the best way to do it. Quitting anything cold turkey is not typically the preferred method. So I don't know why it would be here. But again, MLB, takes the proverbial gun, points it right down to their big toe and pulls the trigger.
A lot of stuff going on in the MLB. I just learned a ton by that little exchange. So thank you guys. I'm now more well-versed in what's going on. I think it's ridiculous that we even have to have this conversation just because it's just, pitchers need to be comfortable with throwing the baseball. It's not like it's not like they're, what's that movie? I think it's like Major League 3 where like Gus Cantrell, the manager of like the Twins AAA team, when he's pitching, he like freezes the ball so that way he goes straight up in the air. You guys seen that movie?
Oh yeah. I love all three major leagues, even down to the minors.
Down to the minors was a very underrated one. But
it's solid.
We can talk about sports movies another time, but it's not like they're doing that to that extreme, and that's what drives me absolutely insane.
It's just the pitchers have gotten so used to something, agree upon something that they can use, even if it's engineered by the league office. And to do it mid-season like this, as the sun, everyone's hands are going to start getting slippier. There's going to be humidity in a lot of these ballparks, in the coming months. So to take away all the sticky substances, it's irresponsible on the MLB's end. And, I personally think there'll still be a lot of pitchers who just say, screw it, I'm going to do it. Because if they don't get caught, the benefits far outweigh those risks.
But also it's a 10 game suspension, not 10-day. But you also get paid.
You get paid, yeah.
And I saw a funny tweet, I think it was by Pat Light, former guest, saying like a minor leaguer should just get called up, do it, get caught, and then get 10 major league game checks for and get suspended, take some hit for it.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's better than what you get in the minors and you just get suspended, don't do anything for 10 days. But I just don't see like why they have to ban just outright everything and make, like Maddie said, the life so much harder for pitchers. Like, and also you could see it now where a guy like, even though Rolls Chapman, his last outing, he was throwing 95 and got lit up, but like if he's throwing 102 and he truly has no idea where it's going, that's very unsafe for hitters. Like, you don't want to see 102 just anywhere.
Yeah, and I think it's unfair on so many levels. Like, and also, I'm not going to call out anybody here. I don't know definitively what Garrett Cole or Trevor Bauer do. Evidence seems to suggest something that whatever. But those guys are combined have made $500 million pitching. And if they're used a spider tack or some other substance to make that money, and now the next guys in line can't use that, they're like, what the hell? That sucks too. You don't want that type of stuff. You just don't want all this turmoil going into negotiations that they will be forced to do at the end of this season. So I guess there is a storm a brewing.
So, yeah, there's a storm a brewing in the MLB with pitchers. Patriots minicamp has started. Jayson Tatum should be an all-star. Bruins season's over. What an episode. What a week. Great to have the three of us back.
Yes, it is.
Check out couchguysports.com. Once again, all the blogs, everything else in between. You heard the beginning. Just go back and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Rate and subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and everywhere else where podcasts exist. It helps. It helps us know what we're good at, what we stink at, and everything else. Like we're here to improve any way we can.
Yeah.
If nothing else, we got Matty Kiwoom. We got Tom Powder Cadmus. Shout out to our sponsors, Exo Gun, A&B Burgers. Thank you for being sponsors of the Legends Lingo podcast. Thank you for watching this week's episode. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week for episode 126.
Yes, sir.